Hello, and welcome to another episode of Kwentuhan series. In this series, we bring in different guests from the tech industry and we listen to their insightful experiences. I'm your host, Vidya, and today we have with us our senior iOS software engineer of Spiralogics, Mr. Prajeet Shrestha. You are welcome to this episode.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you for having me here.
So before we move on into the questions about your experiences in tech industry or non-tech industry, please share us something interesting about yourself.
Okay. One thing I can share with you is that during my school days, I was involved in a musical band. It was two-man musical band, and it was called Blacklisted, and we had some original numbers as well.
That's definitely something really interesting that I didn't know about you, and many of us might not know about you as well. We would someday love to listen to those original numbers. So,
Yeah.
at Spiralogics, you're currently in a position of senior software engineer, particularly for iOS. Could you please describe about your role at Spiralogics in this position?
Okay, sir. So as a senior software engineer, I am mostly involved in coding, but besides that, I am also involved in feasibility study if there's any potential projects coming up, and also I'm involved in mentoring junior devs and sharing my knowledge with them, uh, and code review, peer code review. We are also involved in peer code review, and um basically I do whatever it takes to get things done. Actually.
So, talking about your journey, how long have you been in this career? I mean, in the career of the tech industry, how long have you been here?
Actually, I started in 2014, April of 2014. So it's been around 8 years, almost 8 years now.
Okay, that's definitely a plenty of contribution in this sector. So I was curious that did you start with mobile development or you started with something else and later switched to mobile development?
I actually applied for the position of junior PHP developer because I had made the projects, college projects on based on PHP and everything. Uh, but the HR there offered me highest development position, and I had no clue about mobile development or iOS development. So, uh, so they also gave me the learning materials, and I actually got paid to learn iOS development in during my initial days. So that was interesting, and that was the best thing that could happen to me in terms of career. Because it helped me discover my passion for mobile development, uh, and also it opened a whole new avenue towards self-fulfillment and some level of financial freedom.
Okay, that's an interesting journey as well. So that's good for you, good for us, good for Spiralogics. So, how different is being a mobile developer than a web or backend developer?
Uh, the fundamentals of every programmer or coder is basically same. You need the basics of coding is same for everything, but also their mobile development and backend development is had certain characteristics that are spliced to uh, the platform itself. So for example, in mobile development we need to take great care about UI and UX. We need to do micro level optimization like memory optimization and threading. Also, we need to care about things like connectivity, and there are different sensors in the mobile application. We need to know all the APIs to uh, play around with it, or implement a feature related to it. But whereas in backend, they have different set of problems like databases and load balancing or messaging system and scalability. So they have different set of problem. Yes.
So I believe this is going to be really insightful for those who are going to choose their career in any of both either mobile developer or web or backend developer. So we know that the tech field is really dynamic and things keep changing. So there is the adoption of cross-platform mobile app, which has been skyrocketing now. So do you think it should be a concerning factor for a native iOS or Android developer? And how easy will it be for a native developer to transfer his or her existing knowledge from native to cross-platform development?
Like I mentioned earlier, whether it is a native development or cross-platform development, the fundamentals are the same. Also, the mobile development concept is basically same. There's a view and there's navigation, routing, and some network handling and connectivity. Every problem we have shared sets of problem in cross-platform and native development. So it is not concern for native developers, because even the cross-platform developers should be knowing about the native iOS SDK or Android SDK at some point of their career. So if native developer want to transition to cross-platform development, they actually have edge against any developer who had no prior experience to native development, for that matter.
Okay. Okay. So how do you keep yourself updated with the latest programming languages?
Basically, I listen to podcasts, blogs, read a lot of blogs, and also some programming books and from YouTube videos. So those are my sources of learning.
So keeping yourself updated about technology has helped you a lot with the different sources, as you mentioned. So you are updated with the latest programming language, and I hope with other technological advancements as well.
As a programmer or a techie, we always need to be updated about new developments in tech industry, because every year there's new updates in operating system, new frameworks released, new programming paradigm changes, so everything. So there's never no stopping in learning actually.
Yeah, exactly. So what has our mobile teams been adopting in our mobile projects to ensure the best code quality?
We have set certain standards and guidelines for development, and we also code review. We are pretty intensely reviewing codes of each other. For example, my code is being reviewed by my peer, and I review their code as well. So that's how we are keeping up.
So you mean to say that receiving feedbacks from each other and working on to improve. So that's how you are helping to ensure the best quality. So there are plenty of technology trends, especially in mobile technology. So which mobile technology trends are you excited for or you want to work with in future?
In terms of technology, I think I have some interest in AR and VR, but I've been keeping up in that my bucket list for quite a long. So I have not started it, but I would really like to learn AR and VR technology in mobiles.
So hopefully you would get to work with it. So okay, this is one of the questions asked by one of your teammates. So among the different mobile apps, which app do you use the most, like Netflix, Zoom, or Teams? And what type of app do you think will become big in mobile technology in coming years?
Yeah. So I've been using Strava a lot lately because it's an app for fitness enthusiasts, and I'm pretty much involved in cycling these days, and uh, and also I'm using apps like Headway. Headway is an app which is actually summarizes a lot of books, and they have set of structure and set of structure for a certain number of days. For example, if you want to um, learn about self growth, they have 28 days of plan, and in 20 days you read around 28 books. We can actually, it summarizes neatly a book into a 5 minutes chunks of summary, so it's really easy and it helping me a lot. And also I think apps like Strava would grow big in coming days, because pandemic has forced people to work from home, and have uh, they have actually constrained within their home, and uh, they have a pretty much sedentary lifestyle. So Strava actually helps people to actually um, get active and socialize at the same time. So I think Strava has a lot of potential. Apps like those will have a lot of potential, which can socialize, which is a combination of socialization and fitness as well.
So, like you said, you have been using Strava uh, to keep yourself active despite working from home. And apart from that, could you please share your experiences, how you maintained your work-life balance as the workspace has changed from physical to virtual mode?
Yeah, of course. There's certain lifestyle changes that we had to adjust um, after the lockdown, and we are pretty much working remotely since around 2.5 years now. So one of the biggest changes is that there's no actually specific set of time. For example, if I go to physical office, there's a set of time that I allot to the office. For example, I go to 9 a.m. and check out at 6 p.m., and that's it. But staying from home, I'll be always available, and I'll be always answering to queries besides the working hour as well. So that's the change. And also we used to be quite active at office by playing sometimes futsal or sometimes table tennis. Also, we used to go walking during the lunch times with a bunch of colleagues. So that's what I miss the most. We used to have a different socializing aspect as well during the physical office, but we are actually adjusting to the remote environment, and trying to cope up with it as things like Strava. so that's the difference between the remote and physical office actually.
So, Strava has been motivating you to remain fit, at the same time
Yes,
challenging your colleagues to
yes. That part is most
remain.
interesting. To challenge and to win the challenge.
Okay, what challenges have you been doing?
So we had. I am involved in one challenge lately, which is a 1,000 kilometer challenge in 100 days. 1,000 kilometer cycling in 100 days. But after my injury I think last week, I'm actually lagging behind the challenge. So that's that's really bothering me actually right now. Uh, 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 it's more painful to lose in the challenge than to have an injury.
So I really pray that you recover from your injury very soon and you win the challenge. So all the best. So,
Thank you.
as you are a software engineer, could you let us know what are the challenges and opportunities of entering into the tech world for a good career? Like, if you want to suggest some juniors who would want to enter into the tech world, what are your suggestions for them?
Yeah, actually, you need to be prepared to learn non-stop. Tech industry is rapid, like I mentioned earlier. Industry is rapidly changing, and new things pop up every now and then, and you need to keep updated. You need to continuously thrive to learn and to get better at the things you do. So the initial learning curve is also might be quite steep for someone with no prior experience in programming, because programming is can be tricky if you don't know the fundamentals. So I would suggest to get a strong fundamental base if you are trying to enter the tech industry as a programmer. So get your fundamentals right and then slowly progress, and also prepare to learn every day.
So, thank you so much, Prajeet Dai. We have our last question. It was also asked by one of your teammates. So, they have asked you to choose between two famous personalities who have contributed in the tech world. First one is Steve Jobs, and second one is Dennis Ritchie. Whom would you choose if you have to choose one between them, and why?
Okay, that was an interesting question. So, as a programmer or coder, it's natural that I'd have inclination towards Dennis Ritchie because he had uh, immense contribution to the programming world as a founder of C and as a founder of Unix operating system. Uh, C can be regarded as the base of most high-level programming languages today, and Unix can be regarded as a base for most modern-day operating system like Mac OS and etc. So Dennis Ritchie has Dennis Ritchie is extremely talented and inspiring personality as well. But personally, I like Steve Jobs actually better because Steve Jobs is the man who started from ground level and created the top company, the most valuable company in the entire world. So that is not a small feat, and that itself is an inspiring thing for me. Also, one interesting thing about Steve Jobs is actually he had Arab roots. So actually, his biological parents, who were from Syria, put him for adoption, and he got adopted by Paul Jobs. His adopted the father who adopted Steve Jobs. That's how he get his name is Steve Jobs. So he got adopted by Paul, who was, I think, mechanic or something. So he is from. He had a very humble background, yet he achieved uh, great success in life. So that's why I find Steve Jobs very inspiring.
Okay, thank you so much, Prajeet Dai, for your inspiring journey as well. This was a really interesting conversation. From this, we have come to an end of this episode of Kwentuhan series. Thank you once again, Mr. Prajeet Shrestha, for accepting our invitation as a guest for this episode. And we will come back with another episode very soon. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vidya. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Dai.